The stars stretched endlessly above the human colony on the edge of explored space. Ships passed by rarely, and most of the inhabitants had long given up hope that anyone beyond their small corner of the galaxy would ever notice them. Yet on this quiet evening, a signal arrived that would change everything. It was not just a message, it was a call. A call from the Queen of Lumeria, one of the most powerful alien civilizations known in the galaxy. Her world was under threat, and she had sent a summons to all corners of space for champions willing to answer. Most of the galaxy ignored her call. Many considered it too dangerous. Others believed that humans were insignificant. But for one human warrior, the signal struck something deep within him. His name was Ethan. He was not the strongest or the fastest, but he had something that mattered even more: courage and determination. Ethan lived on the frontier colony with his small family. The colony was isolated, surrounded by rocky planets and asteroid fields, and life was harsh. Every day, humans there relied on their wit and resilience to survive. Ethan had trained since he was a boy, mastering both technology and combat, always pushing himself to be ready for challenges that might come from beyond the stars. When the Queen's message arrived, Ethan studied it carefully. It was simple but urgent. Lumeria is threatened. All other warriors have turned away. I seek one who will act when others will not. He did not hesitate. Deep inside, he knew he could not ignore it. Humans might be underestimated, but that did not mean they were weak. If the galaxy was going to survive, he had to act. Packing his small ship with supplies, weapons, and essential tools, Ethan said goodbye to his family. His father gave him a firm handshake, his mother hugged him tightly, and his younger sister watched with wide, admiring eyes. "Come back safe," she whispered, and Ethan nodded. He did not know if he would return, but he knew he had to try. His journey to Lumeria was not easy. The first obstacle was the asteroid belt that surrounded the human colony. Massive rocks moved unpredictably, and even a small miscalculation could destroy a ship. Ethan piloted with care, weaving between the tumbling stones. He stayed awake for hours, monitoring the ship's sensors, adjusting his path constantly. Sweat formed on his brow, but he never wavered. After the asteroid belt, he encountered pirates, rogue humans and aliens who preyed on travelers. They demanded his cargo and tried to board his ship. Ethan refused to surrender. Using clever tactics, he created distractions and traps, luring the pirates into dangerous zones of space where their own ships were damaged. By the end, the pirates fled, surprised by the humans' ingenuity. The farther he traveled, the stranger the regions of space became. Ethan passed through areas of gravitational turbulence where stars bent light in strange ways, and nebulas that sparkled with colors he had never seen. He marveled at the beauty but never forgot his mission. Every obstacle tested him, but it also made him stronger, more determined. On one small, uncharted planet, his ship malfunctioned. The engine emitted sparks and the control panels flickered. Ethan landed on the rocky surface, knowing the planet was uninhabited but dangerous. Wild creatures adapted to the harsh environment, prowled in the shadows. Using his knowledge of technology, he repaired the ship while keeping a careful watch. One of the creatures lunged at him, and he barely managed to escape, finding safety behind a large rock formation. After hours of work, the ship was ready again. Ethan breathed deeply, feeling the weight of the journey pressing on him, but he refused to rest for long. The Queen's call had led him here, and he could not fail. Finally, after days of travel, he arrived in the Lumerian system. The planet was enormous, with vast oceans, towering cities, and forests that glowed faintly in the moonlight. Ethan had never seen anything like it. Ships and structures hovered in the air, powered by technology far beyond human understanding. And yet, despite the beauty and power, there was an air of tension. Lumeria was preparing for war, and every being on the planet seemed alert and cautious. When Ethan landed, he was met with suspicion. The guards, tall and armored, looked at him as if he were an intruder. His human size and appearance were different, and his mannerisms strange. The other warriors had already arrived, aliens of various shapes and abilities. Some could manipulate energy, others had incredible strength or speed. All of them had ignored the Queen's message in the past, leaving her with very few allies. Ethan stepped forward, showing respect and humility. "I came in response to the Queen's call," he said. His voice was steady, though his heart raced. The guards hesitated, then allowed him to pass. Ethan made his way through the bustling streets. marveling at the alien architecture and the strange creatures walking beside him. The city was alive, but the fear was unmistakable. The enemy was close, and Lumeria needed a miracle to survive. Finally, he reached the palace. Its walls shimmered with energy fields, and towers rose higher than any human could imagine. At the center of it all was the queen, seated on a raised platform, her presence commanding. She was taller than most humans, with shimmering eyes that seemed to see through everything. Her voice echoed in the hall. "Many have turned away," she said, her gaze sweeping the room. "All claim danger is too great. All claim our fight is not theirs to join. And yet, here stands one who came. One human warrior. Tell me, why do you answer when others have refused?" Ethan bowed slightly. "Because courage is not measured by size, strength, or technology," he said. "It is measured by action. I answer because the right thing is not always easy. Someone must act when others hesitate. I am here to serve, not to question." The queen studied him for a long moment. Her eyes narrowed, not in suspicion but in calculation. She had seen many warriors, many races, and many claims of bravery. Few had the conviction to back up their words. She wondered if this human could truly make a difference. She finally spoke. "Very well. If you wish to help, you will not do so alone. Our forces are ready, but they lack the one element that may turn the tide: strategy, cunning, and unpredictability. Perhaps your kind can provide that." Ethan nodded. He felt a spark of hope. This was not just about fighting. It was about thinking, adapting, and surviving. Humans had always excelled where others relied only on strength. The queen waved her hand and holographic images appeared, showing the approaching enemy fleet. Ships larger than anything Ethan had ever seen moved toward Lumeria with precision. The enemy's technology was impressive, but there was something predictable about their tactics. Ethan studied the projections carefully, noting weaknesses and possible strategies. He could see paths that others would not take and plans that might save countless lives. As the meeting ended, Ethan was given quarters within the palace. The alien warriors who had once doubted him now looked at him with curiosity, and in some cases caution. They whispered among themselves, trying to understand why a human, small and seemingly ordinary, had dared to answer the queen's call. That night, Ethan walked to the palace balcony, gazing at the stars. He thought of his home, his family, and the journey that had brought him here. The challenge ahead was greater than anything he had faced, but he was ready. Humans had survived against impossible odds before, and he would do so again. Not for glory, but because it was the right thing to do. The stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if acknowledging the courage of one human warrior standing ready to change the fate of an entire world. While all others had turned away, he had stepped forward. And that small act, simple as it seemed, would ripple across the galaxy in ways even he could not yet imagine. The battle was coming. And Ethan knew that the human spirit, the courage, ingenuity, and resolve that defined his kind, was about to be tested like never before. The next morning, the tension in Lumeria was palpable. The sky above the planet glowed with the first light of 2 suns, but the beauty of the dawn did little to ease the anxiety of the queen and her people. Ethan stood among the alien warriors, studying the preparations for the coming battle. Ships hovered in formation above the planet, ready to intercept the approaching enemy. Ground forces took positions across the vast plains and forests, ready to defend the cities. Strange weapons, energy shields, and mechanical constructs moved with precision, yet the soldiers' faces betrayed worry. Most had never faced an enemy as cunning and relentless as the one now advancing on their world. Ethan approached the queen. She was observing the holographic map of the battlefield, her expression stern but thoughtful. "You have seen the enemy," she said. "What do you propose?" Ethan studied the display carefully. "They rely on predictable patterns. Their ships follow strict formations. Their ground forces advance in direct lines. If we disrupt their expectations, we can divide them and force mistakes." The queen raised an eyebrow. "Explain." Ethan pointed at the holographic projection. "A small team, moving fast and unpredictable, could strike at their command ships. It will confuse them. Meanwhile, your main army can use that distraction to flank and weaken them. Their size and technology give them confidence, but confidence can be exploited." The queen considered this. "And you will lead this team?" Ethan nodded. "If you allow it, yes. Humans are small and fast. We can move in ways larger forces cannot, but I cannot do it alone. I need your best scouts, your fastest ships, and the soldiers willing to take risks." After a moment of silence, she spoke. "Very well. You may lead, but understand this, many will doubt you. Some may refuse. Your choices will affect countless lives." Ethan's resolve did not falter. "I understand. I am ready." Soon a small fleet of the fastest Lumerian ships gathered under his command. A handful of elite soldiers joined him, each trained for speed, stealth, and adaptability. While the alien warriors were strong, their training had focused on straightforward tactics. Ethan's plan required creativity, surprise, and thinking ahead. As the enemy fleet entered Lumerian space, the battle began. Massive ships exchanged energy blasts, shaking the atmosphere and sending shockwaves across the land. Ground forces clashed with enemy troops, and the Queen's soldiers fought valiantly. Yet confusion and fear spread quickly among the ranks. The enemy was larger and better armed, and doubt crept into the hearts of even the bravest warriors. Ethan gave orders calmly, his voice steady and confident. "Move fast. Strike the command ships. Do not engage directly unless necessary. Use their expectations against them." His team responded with precision. They navigated asteroid fields, energy barriers, and enemy patrols, striking unexpectedly at weak points. Enemy ships were disabled before they could react, and communication lines were cut. Chaos spread through the enemy fleet, disrupting their coordination. On the ground, Lumerian forces seized the opportunity. Flanking maneuvers hit the enemy from unexpected angles. The soldiers, inspired by the human warrior's boldness, began fighting with renewed confidence. During the height of the battle, Ethan found himself facing the enemy commander's flagship. Massive and heavily armed, it seemed impossible to approach. Yet he noticed its defenses were focused on large, predictable threats. Using speed and agility, Ethan's small ship darted through blind spots, evading energy beams and explosive traps. He reached the core of the flagship, where the enemy commander waited. The alien was formidable, with advanced weapons and immense strength. But Ethan relied not on raw power, but on cunning. He used the environment, luring the commander into traps and exploiting weaknesses in the ship's systems. In a daring move, he disabled the flagship's engines, leaving it vulnerable. Elsewhere, the battle turned in favor of Lumeria. Enemy forces, confused and leaderless, began to retreat. The Queen's army pressed forward with coordinated strikes, taking advantage of the disorder Ethan's team had caused. Soldiers who had doubted the human warrior now followed his lead, inspired by his courage and quick thinking. As the dust settled, the battlefield was quiet except for the hum of energy shields and distant alarms. The enemy ships that remained fled, unable to regroup. Lumeria had survived, not by sheer strength but by strategy, adaptability, and courage. The Queen herself approached Ethan, her presence commanding yet respectful. "You have done what many thought impossible," she said. "While all others turned away, you responded to the call. You have not only saved Lumeria but shown that courage and intelligence can outweigh size and power." Ethan bowed slightly. "I only did what needed to be done. Humans may be small, but we survive by thinking, adapting, and never giving up. Any warrior of any kind could have done the same. I just took the first step." The Queen smiled faintly, a rare expression for one so regal. "Your first step has changed the course of history. Your actions will be remembered, not just by my people but across the galaxy. You have earned the trust and respect of Lumeria." As celebrations began across the planet, Ethan observed the soldiers and civilians alike. They had fought bravely, but his small team's tactics had made the difference. It was a reminder that courage could inspire others, and that even a single individual could alter the outcome of a battle if they acted with purpose and determination. Over the following days, Ethan trained alongside the Lumerian soldiers, sharing human techniques and strategies. He taught them to think unpredictably, to adapt quickly, and to trust their instincts. The alien warriors, once skeptical of humans, began to see the value of ingenuity and determination, recognizing that courage was not limited to a single species. The Queen frequently visited him, discussing plans for future defense and alliances. She began to rely on him not only as a warrior but as a strategist. Together they reviewed maps of neighboring systems, considering threats that might come next. Ethan realized that his journey was far from over. Lumeria might be safe for now, but the galaxy was vast, and danger could appear at any moment. One evening, as the suns set over Lumeria's glowing forests, Ethan stood on the palace balcony once more. He thought of his home, of the human colonies scattered across the stars and of the family who had encouraged him to act. Courage, he realized, was universal. It did not belong to one species or one world. It belonged to those who dared to step forward when others hesitated. The Queen joined him silently, watching the stars. "You have given my people hope," she said. "They see now that bravery is not measured by size, strength, or heritage. It is measured by action, by willingness to face the unknown." Ethan nodded. "And that lesson is not just for Lumeria. It is for all worlds. One act of courage can inspire many. One choice to stand when others flee can change the fate of millions." The Queen studied him, then spoke with a warmth that surprised him. "Perhaps humans are underestimated in the galaxy not because they are weak, but because others fail to see their strength. You have proven that even one human can change the course of history." Ethan smiled faintly. "I only followed the call, but I am glad that it mattered." As night fell over the planet, the two looked toward the stars, knowing the galaxy was full of unknown challenges. Yet in that moment, hope shone brighter than fear. A single human warrior had stood where others turned away, and his courage had saved a world. Lumeria had survived stronger than before, and the bonds forged between humans and aliens promised a future of cooperation, trust, and shared courage. And though the Queen's call had been answered by only one, the impact of that answer would echo across the stars for generations to come.